everyone, and welcome to the 2023 emergency response for Ralstonia Nursery Surveys. This is using the application ArcGIS Survey123. Thank you for listening to this training. I'm Jenny Sauer. I'm a mobile solution specialist, a member of the End User Tools Group, and I'm here to present this training to you today. You should have a few things. You need a device that you feel comfortable using. For Survey123, that can be a desktop computer or a mobile device, and the mobile device can be an Android or an iOS, meaning an iPad or an iPhone. You'll also want to be kind of comfortable with the Survey123 app. I'll walk you through it, but there is more training available. And for this emergency response, survey protocol is in the hands of the National Operations Manager, Sylvia, Shadman, Adolpho, and Wendy Beltz is serving as an alternate point of contact. Quickly, a resource where you might find documents and this recorded video. Hopefully they've been passed on to you, but if you need, this website will be in the description below. It is the Mobile Data Collection Tools webpage, and you will find, if I scroll down just a little bit, PEST program specific training documents. On this page, you'll see a list of all programs, including Ralstonia, and a user guide and quick reference document will be made available there. Hopefully this has already come into your hands, but if you need it for reference, this is where you can find it. And this video gallery hosts all of our training programs. So you'll see it listed under PEST programs once I've finished recording it. A second option for you here, you will need a USDA MRP GIS portal account, and there are instructions on how to do this here on this GIS in APHIS SharePoint site under WebGIS. Your supervisor will do this for you, but just so you know, this MRP GIS portal access process has a document that walks them through it, and so if help is needed, this SharePoint site is also in the description below. You can see all the options on the process are right here listed for you. So those two resources are here for you. Let's get started. What are we going to talk about in this training? First of all, this is just kind of a little analogy. I can take you to the finish line, but some of these steps are on you to source. Like we mentioned, survey protocol. Again, that's Sylvia, Shadman, Adolpho, and Wendy Beltz is your other point of contact for this emergency response. For Ralstonia, you need to have a device you feel good about. You need to feel pretty comfortable with the Survey123 app. I can help with that a little bit, but not entirely. And there is also training available on just the Survey123 app itself on that Mobile Data Collection Tools website if you want to refresh your memory there. That said, the app is really intuitive and pretty easy to use, so I feel pretty confident with you jumping in on that. Here are the objectives. We're going to talk about getting that ArcGIS Survey123 installed to your device. We're going to talk about adding a connection so that you can connect to that USDA MRP Enterprise portal that we talked about, and you have to sign in. In order to sign in, you need a portal account and you need e-authentication level 2. Then you need to download the Ralstonia Nursery Survey specific to your state and go ahead and collect data. So we're going to take you through all of that. That said, these top three in the little red box here, once those are done, you pretty much just jump right back in. You open the survey that was previously downloaded, collect data on repeat. So those three are really more prep steps, but they are really important to get understood and complete so that you can go ahead and start collecting survey data. So first of all, the ArcGIS Survey123 application. There are two options for data entry using ArcGIS Survey123. As mentioned, it can be done on a mobile device. That mobile device can be an Android or an iOS, meaning iPad or iPhone. This application is free from any app store. Go to your app store, search for ArcGIS Survey123, download and install to your mobile device. Secondly, it's available as a desktop application. This is also free to download and install yourself. There is no need for support from IT. You can do it all by yourself. I will put a link in the description below for acquiring this application. It is also outlined step by step in that user guide that I mentioned. Signing in looks a little bit like this when you first open the ArcGIS Survey123 application, and you have to manage ArcGIS connections and then add a connection to our USDA MRP Enterprise portal. So in order to do that, those steps are also outlined, but I will walk you through it in one of the devices in our demo portion. So you'll just have to add that connection, and evermore, then you will have an option just above this sign in with ArcGIS Online. You'll have an option to sign into that enterprise portal with that URL listed there, and that button is what you'll click from there. Once you have established that connection, you will sign in using eAuth. Again, you're going to pick this enterprise login. So this red box over the bottom option, and you're going to hit this blue button for eAuth account. And that's going to allow you to go ahead and type in your e-authentication username and password. One thing I've noticed, you have to do that from the mobile device because you can't put a PIV card in it. But from a desktop, you might be tempted to use your PIV card as an option, and it doesn't seem to like that. So you will have to manually input your username and password. Make sure that eAuth username and password is something you know and have handy for this step. Finally, you'll need to download the survey. If I go to the upper right and tap or click on my user profile, which I'll show you briefly in the demo portion as well, you'll get this menu and an option of downloading surveys. So I will tap or click on download surveys. See that red arrow there? And then I get this kind of menu. You might have different surveys listed, so I've kind of blurred them out, but you can see here I've got PPQ Ralstonia, ST meaning state. So for your state, you will see a state abbreviation here instead of ST. For instance, it might say CA for California. So you will be looking for your state's survey. And then next to it, we'll see a cloud with an arrow. Right now, this is indicating I've already downloaded this survey. But what we'll do is we'll tap that cloud next to that survey name for your state. And then this shows that it's already been downloaded. So once it's been downloaded, we can go back. We don't need to download more surveys at this point. So we'll go back using this back button at the top left corner, and that will take us back to our surveys that are downloaded to our device. Same for desktop as it is for mobile, and then we'll open the survey from there. Now, the data form is grouped into these three categories, and these are nested categories. So there's nursery information, followed by greenhouse inspections and samples. And the way to look at this is that there is one nursery location, like imagine a plot of land, and one or many greenhouses could occur on one nursery. So the greenhouses occur within that nursery, and there is an expectation of at least one greenhouse to inspect, but there could be multiple greenhouses on that nursery property. And then following this down another step, nested within each greenhouse, there may be a sample collected. Now, there may be no samples, zero samples collected from a particular greenhouse, or there may be many. So within each greenhouse, there is a 0 to more samples that may be collected. Another way to look at it, I'll give you a little picture kind of view. So we've got kind of arrows going down. Within a nursery, there are one to many greenhouses. Within a greenhouse, there may be 0 samples to many samples. Let's give you a picture. So here's a plot of land. Let's say this is a nursery parcel, and you might see here's a greenhouse. Here's a greenhouse. Maybe these are greenhouses to you too along the bottom. I'll just give them little red boxes. And then within each greenhouse, still we have one nursery, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 greenhouses. But within each greenhouse, we might collect maybe one sample there, maybe 2, maybe 1 sample here. See the picture here? Maybe 2 there, maybe 3 there. All right, so we've got greenhouses with no samples collected, a greenhouse with 1, a greenhouse with 2, a greenhouse with 3. So just consider that the way that the data is collected is nested in this way. One nursery, at least one greenhouse, maybe more, maybe no samples collected within each greenhouse, and an unlimited amount of that. So if you think of it that way, then the data form itself is going to be a little bit easier for you to understand. Let's have a look at that data form. I'm going to have a look first at the desktop version and show you what that looks like. And when I first open this up, I'll see something like this. And upper right, here's my profile picture. There's that download surveys. Remember that? And if I click that, I've got a list of surveys that I could download. And we see that same thing. We know we've already downloaded this template survey. So this is not assigned to any state. You will be looking for your state abbreviation in the title. But if I wanted to download another survey, I would go ahead and see if I hover over this cloud, I would click that cloud button, download the survey. So this is my downloaded surveys page. I'm going to go back one to my surveys, and here I am with Ralstonia. To open that survey, I'm going to go ahead and tap that card. It looks like it needs an update. I'm going to go ahead and do that and open it. So I can see here that I have already sent one survey out, and in order to start collecting data, I'm going to just tap anywhere along this collect bar to open the survey form. And it might take a moment to load, and because this is the desktop software, of course it's not collecting GPS data. The first thing I want to do is click on this map here and be sure that I am locating the address. I can put in an address here if I'd like. I'm going to do 1426, which is here in Windsor, and you see it starts trying to find it for you. Here we are. So you want to put in this address, you want to check this map, zoom in if you have to, be sure that this is the location of your nursery. And once you're happy with this pin and the address, we're going to go ahead and click this check mark at the bottom right and accept that map location. Once the mapped location is confirmed, you're just going to start filling out data in this data form. A couple things about the data form. We want to start with nursery information. You can see this has a little arrow here that will collapse or open that group of questions. You can see when I collapse it, we've got a couple other groups of questions. So we're going to start with the survey information and then move on to greenhouse inspections. So starting with survey information, anything with a red star or red asterisk after it is a required field. I'm going to go ahead and fill this out according to Jenny's protocol. This is not survey protocol, just meant to kind of fill it out and show you how that works. We have a red asterisk on address and what we call a hint in parentheses, not a PO box. So this has to be a real address. So I'm going to do the same thing as I did for the map and fill in the address, city. State is going to need the actual state, which I'm in Colorado. Zip code. Now we've got contact name has no asterisk. That means this is not a required field. If you can, fill it out. If you don't, the form will allow you to submit it without these fields. So I'm going to skip those for now and continue down. The next group of questions or section is nursery environment. I'm going to expose those. And I can see I've got one required field. I can tap anywhere along this bar to open the options. I'm going to say no. Moving on down. Trace forward, I'm going to say yes, and then it's asking for the type. See, if I had said no, I have no further questions. So some of these really do respond with more questions based on how they are addressed. I'm going to say primary. Next group, now that I've completed the nursery information, location information, now I have a greenhouse inspection. Now remember, this is lodged within the nursery, so it's nested. This greenhouse inspection, the expectation is that there is, of course, at least one. I'm going to call this greenhouse 1. And the survey date, again, if I tap anywhere along here, I'll get a calendar date. It is automatically going to plug in today's date and timestamp. If this was a previous date, I'm going to go ahead and use the calendar to create that date. Surveyor name or team, again, it's Jenny. And we've completed that section. We have a couple more collapsed groups of questions within this greenhouse inspection. So I'm going to open those up and follow this down the line. Again, I don't know survey protocol, but I can see here that there's a hint I can check all that apply, so multiples can be done. In order to close that, I just tap on that field one more time, open, close, and just moving right on down, I can check all that apply, cool. Water drainage, maybe this doesn't make any sense, but I'm just doing it to put something in here. Now, this one doesn't have any difference if I hit yes or no, so that's the end of that line of questioning. And I'm going to leave those blank. Lastly, details about targeted pests. We want to expand that section. Are all hosts still at your nursery? I'm going to say yes. How many? I'll say 14. Again, follow survey protocol to enter all of this data, but everything with a red asterisk must be answered or the survey will fail to submit. It'll prompt you and ask you to finish that. Additional comments. Now this spot here within the greenhouse inspection is a spot where you might add any comments that, that you couldn't in another field. For instance, maybe there's an alternate phone number for contact or something like that. That would all go here under additional comments. So we have submitted now, we've completed the nursery inspection, the nursery location information, and the greenhouse inspection nested within that nursery. Let's say there's a secondary greenhouse. Well, remember where those started. Here they are. So if we get to the bottom of the greenhouse questions, we see there is an expandable section here for samples, and there's also a little note here to add another greenhouse inspection for Jenny's yard, click plus. So where's that plus? It's right here. In order to do, so I just clicked plus and now we've got a fresh set of greenhouse inspections. If I scroll down to the bottom again, I'm going to see that now I can add another greenhouse inspection, but right now I've got an arrow that goes back one and it says 2 of 2. So under the greenhouse inspections, I'm on the second greenhouse inspection and I can go back to the first one and make edits. I could add a third, and I could also just trash this 2 of 2, the second one. I'm going to go ahead and throw that one in the trash. And this is what that looks like. Record 2 of 2 will be deleted. Well, you and I did not fill out 2 of 2. We left that blank. And so we know that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Scrolling down to the bottom though, let's say at that one greenhouse inspection, which now we see 1 of 1, I did take a sample. So if there is a sample to take information on, I'm going to expand the sample information. If not, I can go ahead and click this green button at this green check mark at the bottom right and submit it. But let's go through this. So sample information. Some of this is filled in already. We have a plant genus species, we have the variety. We want to add the sample type, which you can see is not a required field. We want to try to fill in everything we can. Name of tester, immuno test result, if we have it, a ship date, if we have it. I'm going to put that in as today too. ARM diagnostic number, EAN number. So complete as much as of this as you can. And you can see we've gotten to the end of this sample set of questions. And now we have to add another sample for greenhouse 1. Click the plus. Same thing. We're still able to add another greenhouse if we'd like, another greenhouse inspection, but within greenhouse 1, we can take another sample. So we've had one sample where we filled it out. To add another sample, click that plus button. So these little notes here are for can be a little confusing because we have that nesting going on. We have nursery, greenhouses nested within the nursery, samples nested within each greenhouse. But pay attention to these little notes. In order to add another sample, it's this little line here. In order to add another greenhouse, it's this little line here. When you're within a greenhouse adding samples, just be careful you're within the right greenhouse. So I named this greenhouse 1. Use your survey protocol and try to keep track of where that's happening. And that's the tricky spot. So far we have entered data on a nursery location, a greenhouse inspection. We've added a little bit of data to a sample we collected, and we're feeling good about this. So we'd like to submit this form. So like I mentioned before, bottom right, see that little check mark there? Let's go ahead and tap that. And we have some options. Now I'm on my desktop, so I am connected. It says to me, your device is online. That's telling me I'm connected to the internet or maybe Wi-Fi. In this case, it's the internet. And I have a couple options. I can send it now, or I can save it in an outbox. The outbox is really best used if you don't have an internet connection and that's the only option. And so then that saves it to a little outbox. And then when you get back to connection, you go to the outbox and then send those surveys. We're connected, so I'm going to go ahead and hit send now. And just like that, it's sent. And also now you'll see this bottom little bar here, the sent bar says to. So we've just added a survey that was sent out. If I want to review these, I can go to this sent bar and I get a list. I can view this also on the map. I'm going to go back to the list. And I have an option here within. I can go ahead and trash that survey if I need to delete it. This is probably not something you want to do. Click on the survey that I want to view. I can view it, but you can see you get to view these in a row if you want to. Okay, let's have a look at what that looks like on the iPad. This is my PPQ iPad. I have already installed Survey123 automatically. Again, this is something you can go to the App Store and install yourself. I'm going to go ahead and open it. You can see that I previously signed in. Here I am just being signed in automatically. Already downloaded is that same Ralstonia template survey, not state specific, but you will be looking for your state specific survey. Here it says ST as part of the title, but yours will have your state abbreviation. I'm going to open it. I'm going to update this survey too, just like the last one. And you can see I've got a collect bar just like the desktop version. I'm going to hit collect and open that survey. Because I am using a mobile device, it is using the GPS to locate me. I will still want to be sure that that map location is accurate. So it's a good idea to, if this view is enough for you and that can tell you you're in the right spot, that's okay. But in order to view that in a full screen view, you just tap the map and that opens it for the whole screen. You might want to zoom in or out if you need to. And once you're happy with that location, again, that check mark at the bottom right accepts that map location. And then we're looking at the same form, folks, as we did on the desktop version. It looks exactly the same. The sections, the section headings can be collapsed or opened. You want to start with nursery information and follow with a greenhouse inspection. Within the greenhouse inspection, you have the ability to enter multiple at the bottom of the screen. And if you want to collect a sample, that is also something you can expand and collect multiples of. So you can see it looks exactly the same from this view. I want to finally show you a view of what that looks like from a phone. So we're just kind of like making screens go smaller and smaller, right? So this is my iPhone. This has also been installed from the App Store, and there's Survey123. I'm going to open it. And this one I have not established a connection yet, so I'm going to go ahead and do that here with you folks. So I have signed in with ArcGIS Online or manage ArcGIS connections. We need to establish that connection. So I've opened that and now I'm going to hit add connection. So this is where I will manually carefully type in that USDA MRP Enterprise Portal URL, which is maps.mrp.usda.gov/ArcGIS. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, check it over one last time and hit done. And now I'm going to hit add. There we go. And so now we have a list here and the check mark should be next to that new connection we just established. Perfect. And now I'm going to go back. And now you see you have this option to sign in using that URL you just established. I'm going to tap that. Now we go ahead and choose again, sign in with that USDA MRP eAuth account. So I'm going to hit that blue button. It's going to ask me to enter my eAuth username and password. So I'm going to kind of move that up a little bit and type that in. And now I can either hit return or log in with password. And I've got a government information system warning, which I will accept. Allow while using app is a good option. And now this screen says download survey. So if I have no surveys previously downloaded, this is your first option. I can either tap download surveys or I can go to that profile again, like I showed you previously, and hit download surveys. I am looking right now for this template, Ralstonia Nursery Surveys for this year. And you can see I've got a cloud. I'm going to tap the cloud. And now that it's complete, I go back. And that's the only survey downloaded on the My Survey123 page. In order to open it, tap, and here we are, a much smaller screen, but the same view. In order to collect, I just tap collect. Again, similar to the iPad, we have a map that's placing us by GPS because this mobile device is able to place us. Always be sure that that map location is correct before moving into the survey form. But as you can see, the survey form looks exactly the same. It's just on a smaller screen and you can open and close sections one at a time. Here at the bottom right is that submit button. If I go ahead and hit that right now, it's going to give me that I'm missing a bunch of required fields. It starts with the first field on that data form that you need to enter, and it'll move on down until you've completed that. All right, so that is how to enter data for the Ralstonia surveys, nursery surveys. Getting help might be important to you. As we mentioned, there are a couple points of contact for the Ralstonia program. The Nursery Survey Emergency Response National Operations Manager is Sylvia Shadman Adolpho. Wendy Beltz is another point of contact for you. If you need help with portal access or that Survey123 application install, go to your supervisor first. You've got the Ralstonia program contacts to help you. Remember, there are links in the description below and documents that will step you through these processes. Anything end user tools training, go to that mobile data collection tools webpage and look for options there. You also can always reach out to us. Remember, we went through Survey123, how to install it on your device, whether it's a mobile device or the desktop. We talked through and demoed adding that connection and signing in. We went through downloading the survey in all devices, and we walked through data collection. Be especially careful when you're collecting data. Always check over your survey one more time before submitting it. I can't tell you how many times I've found that I've entered a typo or maybe done something inconsistent. So just an excellent reminder is to always take a moment with your data collection. Finally, always feel free to reach out to our end user tools group and myself personally if you have any questions on this training whatsoever. Thank you so much for all you do and good luck out there.